What's going on, Minnesota Viking fans? It's Mitchell Renz from Chat Sports, and we're going to get into some news and rumors here on today's show. Hopefully that's okay with everyone. We're going to be talking about Kirk Cousins, Eric Kendricks. We're going to walk through some of the new coaches that have been brought in here, and at the very end of today's show, I got some more coaching news to go over. But first, let's kick the show off with the quarterback, Kirk Cousins, because there's some juicy rumors going on right now that the Carolina Panthers have called the Minnesota Vikings about a Kirk Cousins trade. Now, for those of you that follow the team often, obviously you probably know this, that Cousins has a $45 million cap hit in 2022. Now, if a team decides to go out and they try to get him, well then guess what? It's going to save Minnesota $35 million, and I get it. Cousins is coming off a good year. Put up pretty good numbers. I could also say that he owes a big old thank you to Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and Dalvin Cook. Nobody really thinks Cousins is a bad quarterback, but the question is always, can he get you to that next level? Can you win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins? We'll continue to talk about some of that stuff, but here's what Judge Zolgag, I think I got that right, on Carolina calling Minnesota. They have gotten a call. Now, from what I've heard, it went nowhere so far, but it's interesting that the phone did ring at TCO Stadium in Eugene. On the other line, the Carolina Panthers. Quarterback desperate, panicked, I'm sure. I think if Matt Rule and the Panthers don't have a successful 2022, he's probably going to be fired because that has not worked out. They cast their lot in 2021 with Sam Darnold. Didn't work out. Now the Vikings supposedly said, hey, let's put a pin in that conversation. We don't plan to move him now. So, as it stands right now, Cousins isn't going anywhere, and I understand that. However, if you're getting upset that Minnesota is taking these calls about Cousins, well then, I don't really think that that's fair. Why? If you're an NFL team, if you're an NFL executive, if you're a general manager, head coach, you should always be looking to improve. And if you believe that your team can improve by moving on from Kirk Cousins, then you have to go ahead and explore it. Now, personally, I'll sit up here and I know in past shows that I'm not afraid to rip on Kirk because I do think he's a little bit at times overrated. He's put up good numbers the past 2 seasons. You can't really debate that. 66.3% completion percentage. 4,221 yards, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. In 2020, 67.6%, 4,265 yards, 35 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. If the Vikings were smart, they would try to make him take a pay cut. Here's the issue. Not that if he was smart, he'd take a pay cut. It's more of Kirk has always been this selfish type of dude who's only going to worry about himself. If I were somebody, I'd be like, Kirk, do you care about winning football games or do you care about getting paid? If you care about getting paid, that's totally fine. That's your MO. Then you can't get upset at us for trying to move on from you. However, if your goal is to try to win football games, try to win the NFC North, and the ultimate goal is to win a Super Bowl, then you have to work with us a little bit here. We gave you 3 years, $84 million, fully guaranteed. Now can you just bend a little bit for us. That way we can build a more complete roster. I do not see Cousins getting traded. I do not see Minnesota moving on from him. However, if news and rumors pop up, guess what? We're going to go ahead and talk about it. So what do y'all think about this? And you know what? I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's show, which means when all of y'all are watching this video, you're going to get hit with a YouTube ad break. So you might as well scroll on down and let us know, what draft pick is Kirk Cousins worth? A first? A second? Is he worth multiple first-round picks? Go ahead and let me know. The next story coming up here is going to be around middle linebacker Eric Kendricks. Now, NFL.com named Kendricks as a possible cut candidate. Why? Because he's scheduled to make $13.53 million in 2022. A release of Kendricks does save Minnesota $7.57 million in overall cap space. And I know a lot of y'all, the last time I said everything going on with Cousins, like, oh, why is he selfish? He's selfish because Minnesota's going to have to start getting rid of some of their good players because they're not going to have enough money to pay everyone. NFL, again, is a team sport. Now, I do have a really cool quote coming up here around Kendricks, but before I get into that, a friendly reminder to hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, because there's going to be tons of stuff, guys, that happens in the offseason. So whether it's NFL news, whether it's Vikings rumors, whether it's draft targets, free agency, palooza, we got you covered here. Let's get this YouTube channel to 3,000 subscribers. The more subs our smaller channels get at Chat Sports, the bigger and bigger they grow. Then you start getting live shows. Then you get more videos. I don't want you to miss anything, so go ahead and hit that sub button. Let's go ahead and look at what this quote was from Cynthia Froylan on cutting Kendricks. Next Gen Stats and I both agree he's a valuable piece. In fact, he is one of just 4 players, along with Bobby Wagner, Lavonte David, and Demario Davis, who eclipses 40 quarterback pressures and 350 defensive stops in the Next Gen Stats era, going all the way back to 2016. But his cap hit is robust, ranking 8th among all off-ball linebackers, and the new guys might look to relocate some of those funds. It doesn't sound like Minnesota wants to move on. The cap hurts, but is it worth it? My question is this: if you're the Minnesota Vikings and you believe we are in win-now mode, I get it, 8-9 last season, but we can win this division, you got to figure out a way to make it work with Eric Kendricks. This dude's coming off a year where he had 143 tackles, 5 sacks, 4 pass breakups, 2 interceptions. According to PFF, an 82.6 overall grade. That was in 2020. In 2021, he had a 73.8 coverage grade, only a 59.6. I personally have always been a big fan of Eric Kendricks. I'm a believer in today's NFL. You have to be able to cover, and that's one thing that you get out of Kendricks. Now, the other part of that is this. Anthony Barr is a free agent. If you decide to not bring back Nick Vigil, you don't decide to bring back Anthony Barr, and you got to let go of Eric Kendricks, all right, well, there's your 3 starting linebackers from last season. It makes it a little bit of an interesting conversation because you don't know if Danielle Hunter can stay healthy. The Vikings secondary has kind of been a disaster. The defense has always been one of these things that you can rely on if you're a Skull fan. I don't know if you can rely on that then. So let me know, y'all, what to do with Eric Kendricks. I want you to go ahead and type K for keep. Remember, you're keeping him for $13.5 million, or if you're like, nah, man, you can let him go. Go ahead and type your C for cut. If you're trying to cut some weight, maybe get in the gym, I don't know, you go ahead and get yourself a new hooded sweatshirt. Go to chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie. Dude, we got tons, and I mean tons of Vikings hooded sweatshirts available at the link that you see below. They're up to 50% off. It's not just the ones that you see on screen. I know Minnesota's really cold. I was complaining to my dad the other day. I was like, dude, it's 25 degrees in Dallas. And then he goes ahead and says, you got family in this part of the neck of the woods, the family in this part of the neck of the woods. I wanted you to know, how cold is it in Minnesota right now? And if you can't walk outside without wearing a hoodie, then here's your chance. Go to chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie. As promised at the top of the show, I said, hey, okay, we're going to go through some Vikings coaching staff. Kevin O'Connell is filling out his staff. O'Connell is going to be calling plays this season, which we know the old OC of the Los Angeles Rams. There's still a few spots to break down. However, I like the way that this team is coming together. You got Kevin O'Connell as your head coach. Wes Phillips is the OC. Remember Phillips, his dad's Wade Phillips. Ed Dontanell, defensive coordinator. Matt Daniels is the special teams coordinator. Chris O'Hara is the quarterback's coach. Curtis Modkins, Keenan McCardell is the wide receiver coach. Brian, Chris Cupper, and then Justin as your offensive line coach. So that's as it stands right now, the Minnesota Vikings offensive staff. Now, in terms of the defensive staff plus special teams, they've went ahead. They've made a few other additions here from top to bottom. They need to figure out what they're going to do in free agency. But I also said this, that I'm going to tell you guys about a new hire here and the new linebacking coach. It sounds like it's going to be Greg Manusky, and he's expected to be the next guy. He has spent the past 2 seasons as Kentucky's defensive quality control assistant, spent 4 seasons as the DC of the Washington football team / Commanders. I mean, they've changed their name too many times at this point. But there is some crossover here with O'Connell because O'Connell, remember, was a member of the technically Washington Redskins football team. And now you go ahead and you bring somebody in. So what I want you guys to do is go back to school, grade the Vikings coaching staff A, B, C, D, or F. Go ahead, let me know what you guys are thinking from top to bottom. I was a big fan of the head coach. However, I'm a tough grader. I'm going to say they're above average staff as it stands right now. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a B. If you made it this far in the video, y'all, I just want you to know, I want you to enjoy the rest of your day, to make sure you stay up to date, everything going on with the Vikings, free agency, news, draft. It doesn't matter. Trades, we got you covered. Turn on those notifications because I don't want you to miss if they go ahead and trade Kirk Cousins. Yeah, dude, that's going to be a big story. And again, I don't want you to miss it.